Coming up next on Making Moves, a former Jacksonville bus driver dies. We'll tell you why his actions more than 50 years ago still reverberate today. Some JTA military veterans are showcased on national television. Learn how they use their military experience to transition to civilian life and working for the JTA.
It's a great opportunity to give back to my community by providing excellent customer service and doing it safely and getting my passengers from one place to another.
Residents on Jacksonville's north side have fewer options than most when it comes to buying meats and fresh produce. We'll tell you how the city and JTA are helping make eating healthy a real option.
So the door-to-store program is partnering with the city of Jacksonville, which helps pay for that service. And so then once you identify that you're within that particular zone, then you're able to go to one of these 8 grocery stores.
A group of Pennsylvania transportation workers travel to Jacksonville to learn from JTA's award-winning team. And while most people think buses when they think of JTA, we'll show you how the authority is helping out cyclists too. These stories and more right now on an all-new Making Moves. Welcome to Making Moves. I'm Bill Milnes. Thanks for joining us today. We begin with some Jacksonville history. When Rosa Parks refused to move to the back of a Birmingham, Alabama bus back in 1955, change didn't happen overnight. African Americans didn't automatically earn the right to sit anywhere they wanted on a bus, and they certainly couldn't drive one. But Rosa Parks' actions that day did begin to move the needle. The civil rights movement spread like a wave across the South, and you might say Jacksonville nearly drowned. On a single day in downtown Jacksonville, more than 60 years ago, the past, present, and future collided. That inevitable collision would become a turning point, changing the course of history for our city and the face of the JTA forever. Here's Making Moves' Terry Casey.
Hemming Plaza, downtown Jacksonville, where you can take a walk, catch a ride on the Skyway, or just sit down and relax. But in 1960, this place had a different feel. Change was in the air. So was violence. Members of the NAACP Youth Council then, many of them teenagers, held peaceful demonstrations at segregated white downtown lunch counters. Simmering tensions exploded on August 27th. A mob of some 200 whites with axe handles and baseball bats attacked the young protesters. Amos Ely, he's 79, remembers like it was yesterday.
They didn't just hit the sit-ins and the people like that. They hit the little lady that's coming from cleaning the lady's house and the janitor that's coming out of the thing. They didn't discriminate. If you was black, they beat you.
Somebody called it Axe Handle Saturday. The name stuck.
Axe Handle Saturday was just what I call a final act to put us colored people back in our place. But it was the one that straw that broke the camel's back.
Jacksonville historian Emily Liska.
After that point, there was movement by the city and moreover by the citizens of this city. There had to be a change.
It was common for guys our age to be called a nigger. And I guess people my age, we got used to that.
Amos was 26 then. Things were tough.
I was shining shoes. That's what I did for a living.
And waited for change to come.
Changes did come, and changes in hiring came.
The Jacksonville Coach Company ran buses back then. It was privately owned and situated here along Riverside Avenue. The company hired 8 black men, demanding they meet nearly impossible standards. Then, in almost spy-like secrecy, began to train them how to drive a bus.
All good things for black people in the South started on a bus.
with civil rights icon Rosa Parks in Montgomery, Alabama, when she refused to move to the back of a bus in December 1955. 5 years later, almost to the day, Amos Ely and 7 other men seated in the front drove into history. They were Jacksonville's first black bus drivers. But back then, Amos didn't give history much thought.
If you ask me, did I go in thinking that? No. You're just a bus driver.
All he knew was, for the first time, he had a job, a real one.
I had never made $100 in 1 week. I could work all day, which I did because it was me, it was something I loved, and make any amount of money you want to make. I had never been in that situation. So you hear people talking about, what did they do to you on the bus? I said, I got called the same thing on the bus that I got called off the bus. But I was carrying on $20 to $25 per day.
It was scary from the start. Amos used to live in this area between Jackson and Stonewall Streets when threats and fear forced him out of his home.
I had to move from there when we became bus drivers because that was too hard on my family because they knew they would have got bombed.
The drivers had to deal every day with threats and the venom of verbal attacks spewed, Amos says, by whites and blacks.
It was hostile. But in my age bracket, what some people now would call hostility was the norm. I've been called a nigger on the bus without a job. I was called a nigger on the bus with a job.
At work, they dealt with segregation.
We wasn't in the room, the driver's room with the white guys, but we made the same salary.
They also made surprise discoveries.
There was ignorance on both sides. And I thought all white people could read. They thought all black people couldn't read.
The Jacksonville Coach Company eventually went out of business. And in 1971, the agency that is now the Jacksonville Transportation Authority took over all of the public transit operations in the city. And Amos Ely, well, he just kept on driving.
The thing I like most about driving was Thursdays, payday.
Amos retired from JTA after 36 years behind the wheel.
I think it's one of the saddest days. Got in my car, drove to the gate of the bus company, and sat and watched and cried.
Amos and the others made history. There's no question they paid the price. But was it worth it?
Yes. 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 It's a star in your crown that you didn't even expect.
In Jacksonville, Terry Casey for Making Moves.
Amos Ely, who was featured in this story, died recently, just 2 months after his friend and fellow driver Algernon Roundtree passed away. The duo were regular visitors to JTA's annual bus rodeo and loved talking with today's drivers and sharing how it was back in their day. I was honored to have met and interviewed both of these gentlemen. They are true heroes, and they certainly will be missed. Here are the names of these remarkable men we call the Original Eight. It's worth knowing their names. Amos Ely, Thomas Cummings, Rodney Christopher, Charles Jones, Vanderlee James, Algernon Roundtree, Charlie McRoy, and Otis Lee Williams. These guys were pioneers. They were the first. It wasn't glamorous, fun, or easy by any stretch of the imagination. Rather, it was gut-wrenching, intense, and on a daily basis, at least for a time, it was dangerous. Individually and collectively, what these men did made a difference. They didn't just set the stage, they built the stage for the thousands of men and women who would follow. Amos Ely once said, "We were just bus drivers." Well, Amos, the Original Eight, were far more than just bus drivers. Your legacy proves that. May was National Military Appreciation Month. Since its designation by Congress back in 1999, National Military Appreciation Month is the nation's opportunity to honor the service and sacrifice of service members and their families. The JTA roster features more than 100 former military members from all the branches of service. Recently, 3 of those JTA veterans, Jacqueline King, Robert Dutremble, and Chris Bedgood, were featured on the Brand Star production of Military Makeover Operation Career with Montel Williams. That was on the Lifetime Network. Military Makeover tells the stories of veterans who have transitioned to new careers in the civilian world.
We're headed to Northeast Florida, where the folks at Jacksonville Transportation Authority, or JTA, are striving to improve their community by providing safe, reliable, efficient, and sustainable multimodal transportation services and facilities. And our veterans are helping them succeed.
Hi, I'm Nat Ford, CEO of the Jacksonville Transportation Authority. The interesting thing about the JTA is that we are a holistic transportation organization. That makes us rather unique. And so with our road building, we do everything from sidewalks, complete streets, road widening, as well as public transportation. And now we are working towards a very significant project with autonomous vehicles. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Hey, good morning. How are you? We have over 100 veterans who are currently employed at the JTA. We find that their passion of purpose, as well as their discipline and their technical skills coming out of the military, make them great employees here at the JTA. I would like to add also the diversity of our team, in terms of background, gender, race. It makes it for a very exciting environment where all of these different individuals and backgrounds come together and collaborate for the greater good of our community.
Hello, my name is Jacqueline King. I'm a bus operator here at JTA. I did 8 years in the U.S. Navy. I was a quartermaster, worked in the navigation department. My duties in the military was providing transportation to the troops and sailors and open waters around the world. I learned about working here from an online ad. What interested me about it was the benefits, great retirement, and then I was home base. Now I can be home with my family. It's a great opportunity to give back to my community by providing excellent customer service and doing it safely and getting my passengers from one place to another.
Hello, I am Robert Dutremble. I am one of 2 vehicle maintenance managers with Jacksonville Transportation Authority, and I have the privilege to be the manager in charge of maintenance for the paratransit side of business. The paratransit side of our business is a door-to-door service basically for those individuals with disabilities and or transportation disadvantaged individuals within the community. I am a 23-year veteran of the United States Marine Corps. I have 6 combat tours in Desert Storm, Bosnia, Iraq, Afghanistan, and a few more in Iraq. I retired as a vehicle maintenance chief, which is an easy transition into my new role at the JTA. A typical day for Robert: comes in the morning, first thing, walks the defect line, sees what buses are on the defect line, comes into the office, matches the work orders, which are the technician's notes, so we know where the next shift has to start off, because we run 24 hours, 7 days a week in the maintenance department.
Hello, I'm Chris Bedgood. I'm one of the facility managers here at JTA, Jacksonville Transportation Authority. My time in the Marine Corps is 15 years. Multiple combat tours, multiple duty stations, ranges from Okinawa, Japan to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, 4 tours to Iraq, 1 to Afghanistan. I have the pleasure of being one of the facility managers here at JTA. I am in control and charge and with the mindset of everything other than the facility that we stand in right now. So every other building and location that within JTA, from its Skyway, which is this train, to every building that I am obligated to and will maintain.
Jacksonville Transportation Authority, committed to celebrating veterans and serving the North Florida community.
I think that for a veteran, if you're looking at a strong, great career, outstanding benefits, great vacation, and a family-oriented company to work for, this would be an amazing company. I encourage you to come visit.
Great people, we are a family.
We welcome all veterans, and we welcome veteran spouses also to be part of the team here at the JTA.
If you want a job in the public sector and continue in public service, this is the place in Jacksonville. Hands down, they treat you like you deserve to be treated.
We are JTA. Join us.
Still to come on this edition of Making Moves, residents on Jacksonville's north side have fewer options than most when it comes to buying meats and fresh produce. We'll tell you how the city and JTA are helping make eating healthy a real option. A group of Pennsylvania transportation workers travel nearly 1,000 miles to learn from JTA's award-winning team. And while most people think of buses when they think of JTA, we'll show you how the authority is helping out cyclists too. Those stories when we come back. Welcome back to Making Moves. Let me ask you a question. Do you eat healthy? For most of us, eating healthy is just a matter of picking out the right foods at the supermarket or finding healthy options at your favorite restaurant. But for too many people in Jacksonville, those options just don't exist. They live in what's called a food desert.
And so a food desert is basically if you're not in access to any kind of like fresh fruits or vegetables, and so you don't really have the access. It's not within walkable distance, or if you don't have a car. And so we provide it in areas for people that do not have limited transportation options as well. And so we provide that option to give them that access to the fresh foods that you and I or anybody else that might be able to drive, or if there's like a bus route that's already going a street with the Publix or a major grocery store, you know, they have that access. But this is for those individuals that do not have that readily access from one of our routes.
If you live in certain parts of North Jacksonville, you know exactly what we're talking about. If you're shaking your head yes, then you need to know about JTA's door-to-store program.
The Door-to-Store is a program that we launched in February 2020, and so it's basically to help residents in food desert areas provide access to grocery stores within their neighborhood. So we added this to the north side ready zone area, and it really connects residents in that zone to 8 grocery stores. So it's a free ride, similar to Ready Ride. You just have to tell them that it's the door-to-store option, and then you have to call in about 2 hours ahead of time for pickup or for drop-off, and you go to any of these 8 grocery stores within that zone for free.
Tara Crawford, JTA's Director of Transit Planning, says the service continues to grow as more people learn about this free JTA program in partnership with the City of Jacksonville and operated as part of JTA's Ready Ride program.
Is really to help make sure that we're providing transportation options and mobility for all people, and so making sure that there is that access. And so we identified these individuals that are in this primarily low-income area, that this area doesn't have readily available fresh food options, and so they might have to go regularly to a convenience store. And so it was something that stemmed from our coordination and public outreach and engagement to the people in that community, and we listened and we wanted to be able to respond.
The service offers rides to Winn-Dixie, 3 Harvey's supermarkets, Walmart, Making Ends Meat Market, Price Right, and the Beaver Street Farmers Market. For more information about JTA's free door-to-store program, just go to jtafla.com and click on Ride JTA and then choose Ready Ride. You can then scroll to the door-to-store section where you'll find how to make a reservation, see the zone map with all the stores identified. Door-to-store rides are available Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Well, JTA recently held its annual Customer Appreciation Day as a way to say a big thank you to all its loyal customers. Members of the authority's engagement and outreach team surprised riders at the JRTC with beverages, snacks, and various promotional items as they waited to catch their bus.
We want our customers to know that without them, there is no JTA. So we appreciate them riding, not just today, but every day that they choose to make the JTA their means of transportation, whether they're going to work, to the doctor, to school, or just for leisure. We appreciate what they do for us.
JTA serves more than 5 million customers each year. For the past decade, JTA has become widely known as one of the most successful and innovative transit agencies in the country. Starting with its groundbreaking route optimization initiative and on through today with its autonomous vehicle testing program, JTA has set the standard that other agencies want to emulate. Several times a year, those agencies make the trip to Jacksonville to get an up-close look at how JTA operates. The most recent visitors were from Pittsburgh Regional Transit in the Steel City. The PRT team was here to learn about JTA's procurement and DBE and equity programs. During their 3-day visit, they toured the JRTC, rode the Skyway, checked out the latest technology, the Armsdale Test and Learn Center. Then they had a sit-down meeting with JTA's teams to learn JTA's best practices in each of their areas of interest. Not all tours come from 900 miles away. This time, JTA went on a tour of several senior facilities owned by the Jacksonville Housing Authority in an effort to better assess if the authority's 40-foot buses could get closer to the front door to load or drop off passengers. More than a dozen members of JTA's operations, safety, capital, planning, and customer service teams surveyed and assessed the various locations with the goal of better serving this vulnerable section of its customer base. What they found was in most cases the turning ratio was just too tight to accommodate the large bus for a closer drop-off. The group also recommended that resident parking spaces be removed to safely accommodate the bus's movement, and the installation of a traffic signal to safely exit from the facility to prohibit conflicts with the merging traffic. The authority is continuing to evaluate the data for all the surveyed locations. Well, the Skyway was hopping over Memorial Day weekend as tens of thousands of music fans packed downtown for the annual Jacksonville Jazz Festival. JTA's Central Station is situated across the street from the main performance venue at Riverfront Plaza. The monorail ran all 4 days and nights of the festival to transport fans around downtown. When we return, how JTA is taking care of cyclists in need, and busloads of Generation W wow kids get wowed themselves. We'll explain. Those stories next when Making Moves continues. Welcome back. Every JTA bus has a bike rack on the front to accommodate those passengers who ride their bikes to get to and from the bus stop, the JRTC, or any other hub. And dozens of customers use the racks every day. But everyone who's ever ridden a bike knows that eventually something is going to go wrong. You're going to get a flat tire or your chain will pop off. So what do you do then? Well, did you know that JTA has 3 bike repair stations? 2 at the JRTC and 1 at the Mayport Landing. Each station has a set of tools to help you change a tire or do other repairs and an air pump to fill up your tires. And the best part? It's free. Earlier in the show, we told you about how workers from Pittsburgh Regional Transit came to Jacksonville to meet with JTA in an effort to learn some best practices in their specific area of expertise. Well, they weren't the only visitors to make their way to the JRTC recently. One group of 40 high school females from Generation W's WOW Empowerment Group stopped in to check out JTA's best-in-class Regional Transportation Center and hear from some of the authority's top women leaders on their career achievements. The high schoolers got to hear about the opportunities that avail them at a company like the JTA, including finance, marketing, planning, engineering, and more. Before we go, this program note. On the next Making Moves show, we'll take you to National Autonomous Vehicle Day, where some of the transportation industry's top AV experts will be discussing and showing off the latest technology of the AV realm. Then we'll sit down with some of JTA's most experienced employees to get their view of how the agency and transportation itself has changed here in Jacksonville over the years. That's all on our next show. We hope you'll tune in for that. And that wraps up this edition of Making Moves. We thank you for joining us. We hope you'll tune in again soon as we continue to bring you the latest in transportation news, economic development, and all things JTA. If you want to watch any of our shows again or catch up on ones you may have missed, we welcome you to check out our YouTube channel, and a direct link to our YouTube page is available at jtafla.com. Just click on the icon at the bottom of the page. I'm Bill Milnes. For everyone here at Making Moves, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.